Hi everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk About Mental Health. And it's been a while since I've made videos because I've had uni, my last semester, quite hectic. So now that uni's over and I'm on break, I can make more videos. Today I will be talking about my mental health story. Just a disclaimer, this video will have discussions of quite heavy issues such as suicide and mental health issues. So please keep that in mind before you watch. And if you or someone you know is in a crisis, please contact Lifeline. So to start, I guess when I was quite young, I knew that there wasn't something right with me, like there was something wrong, because from when I can remember, like since kinder, I was really scared of like people, and I was really like upset easily. I remember when I was in kinder, we had a photographer who came to take our kinder photos, and I was quite terrified of them, and I was really withdrawn and inhibited. I still have my kinder photos, and yeah, the photos didn't turn out that great. Like, it was just me very upset and afraid. Just moving on to primary school, I don't know, I was really sad. Like, I wasn't really a happy kid. I guess I had a few friends, but not that many. As a lot of people, I was bullied, like verbally, and that didn't really help the situation at all. I was just a really scared and like unhappy kid. I remember in primary school, like it got bad to the point where I didn't actually want to live anymore. I was in grade like 4 or 5, and I already had severe thoughts of suicide and like harming myself, and that's the start of the downfall, I guess. I didn't actually tell anyone about it, like no one knew. I kept silent and didn't really talk about it. I didn't really have words to describe what I was feeling besides like sad and scared. Like, I didn't know what depression was, I didn't know what anxiety was, I didn't know what any of those were, nor did I know about helplines or support services or anything like that. I guess the first few years of high school were okay. Still had really bad social anxiety, was still very depressed. I don't remember much from the first few years of high school, but the worst point of all of my mental health issues happened when I was in year 11. But mid year 11, I was 16 at the time, and I had a really bad medical issue or medical problem that arose out of nowhere. And like to this day, the doctors don't actually know what caused it. Like, they figured out what it was after like 8 months or something, but they never figured out why it happened. It's a really weird condition. It's called, can't actually say properly, it's like leukocytoclastic vasculitis or something like that. It's an autoimmune disease, which means basically my own immune system attacks my own body cells, or my good cells, or like non-foreign cells. And I had like 3 massive wounds on my leg. It started out as like dots, red dots on my leg, and then it started out as like purple wounds, and then later it turned to like where you can see fat and my blood vessels. It was really unpleasant. back to mental health. So that happened to me at year 11, and that was the peak of my anxiety and depression. It was really severe, and I remember like a month or so before my birthday, I couldn't really take it anymore. I didn't think that anything was gonna get better, because I also had the stress of VCE on me and doing well, so I didn't really think that I could take it anymore. So I attempted suicide. After my attempt, I realized that I needed help. I didn't know where to go for help because I didn't know about any mental health services or anything, but I knew that I needed help. Otherwise, I was going to end up hurting myself again. When I went to the hospital for my medical checkup, because at the time I was seeing specialist doctors for my medical condition, I went to the hospital and I told them I wanted to kill myself because I was still really, my headspace wasn't great and I didn't really have a positive outlook on life whatsoever. And then they referred me to one of the social workers at the hospital who like assessed me and interviewed me, and I told them the exact same thing. When I saw them, I probably said I want to kill myself to like 4 or 5 different health professionals. A social worker, I don't know why they asked me. I guess because I was high risk. They asked me if I needed to go to an inpatient mental health hospital, and I said no, I can control myself, and they let me go. But they let me go as in they didn't make me an involuntary patient. They gave me a referral to my GP, who then referred me to see a clinical psychologist at Headspace. That was honestly terrifying, getting help, because I didn't actually know what therapy was like, nor did I feel confident going. I was trembling and shaking going to therapy because of my severe social anxiety. I wasn't actually against it, but I wasn't excited either. Again, I had a really negative outlook of life. I didn't think anything was gonna possibly get better, nor did I think that therapy was gonna help me at first because of my negative headspace. I didn't believe in anything really. Yeah, so I went to Headspace and I got assessed by an intake clinician who I repeated the same information to again. And then I guess a week later I saw my long-term therapist and I said I want to kill myself to her too. The first thing I said to her was I want to kill myself as well. At first I saw my therapist once a week because it was it was really severe. And then as therapy progressed, I started changing my negative headspace and I started building a toolbox of coping skills, because prior to going to therapy I had no toolbox whatsoever. Like my box of coping skills was non-existent, and the only thing I resorted to was like thinking about suicide and self-harm, because I didn't know how else to cope or deal with my emotions, because I didn't have the skills to. I saw my therapist for a year and a few months, and therapy changed my life, and I didn't think that it was going to help me at first, but then when I finished, it was honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made. Back to the social worker I saw initially at the hospital, the last thing she asked me was, what do you want to change in life? And I said my perspective on life, and that's what ended up happening after I finished therapy. And I couldn't be more thankful to my therapist, because they helped me see the world in a different light. One thing I learned from therapy is that your therapist can't save you, but they can help you save yourself. Post therapy, which is when I also finished year 12, it was honestly hard at first because I still had anxiety. It was still there. Like, I wasn't magically cured from my anxiety and depression, but I was a lot better than compared to high school, because I had started to develop a toolbox of coping skills and healthy coping mechanisms that do not involve hurting myself. In therapy, like, I learned how to manage things, but like, it's not like a cure where you like get a cold and take some cold medicine and then you're cured. Like, that's not how it works in therapy. And with like how it works with the severity of the disorders I experienced. Living for that long without help, and then in that negative headspace versus a year and so of therapy, like, it doesn't balance up. So it takes a while to recover from such severe issues, and that's okay. I lapsed into depressive episodes a few times. The first ones I managed more poorly compared to the later ones, because I was still learning how to use the skills and adaptive coping strategies, and changing my automatic thought process from very negative and self-defeating thoughts to more realistic and rational ones. Recovery is like it's a journey. You can't exactly wave a magic wand to someone who has mental health issues and then they're magically cured like this. It's not how it works. It's a long process, and for some people it can take years on end, and that's okay, because there isn't like a specified time period in which you must have been recovered. Like, that's not a thing, and everyone is different. Just a side story, I remember when this was before going to therapy, I was outside like watering plants or something, and someone came into the front yard. I think they wanted to talk to me, but when they said hey to me, I just got shit scared. I literally ran inside my house and locked the doors even though they were right there. Locked the door, and then my heart rate was like spiked, and I was breathing really hard, and I was like sitting there shaking. And I did not talk to them at all. That's one example of how bad my anxiety was.